Well, here's a video challenge. I don't even think I titled this thing. Whoops. Well, whatever. I'll title it later. This video is another self-perfected video challenge about why success is a decision away. And this is potentially the most important video you'll ever see, depending on where you're at in your process. And if you look at the word decide, as in decision, do you know what it means? The root of it actually means to cut off. So you're cutting off other potential avenues of where you could go. And when you look at then success, it's this cutting away of anything that's not going to be the success you're aiming for. Now there's a ton of nuance to this, and I don't want to get lost in that though. I'll just share a story that it explains this. Is I remember now it was little over 2 years ago, I was totally stuck. Like tried every business, tried every modality to make money, to get myself out of being broke, get myself out of being in poverty. And I would say that, hey, I made the decision. I made the decision. I'm going to be successful. Yeah, just keep persisting, keep persisting. But it only actually changed when I backed up my decision with real action. Because you can talk about wanting to change, but it's like you can even decide to go turn on your stove to make dinner. But until you actually go move your ass across the room and you go turn on the burner and then you make the food, and guess what? You might fail when you're making the food, right? You might even set the pan and the food on fire. But guess what? You're going to figure it out. Well, you might. It depends on the resources that you have. But it's like deciding and saying you're deciding doesn't really mean shit. When you back it up with real action consistently, that's when it means something for real. And so this is going to take a big dose of self-honesty, being really painfully honest with yourself. Like imagine that you hit the end of your life, and in that final moment of your life, you're looking at your life and you're like, all the ego drops. You're like, okay, who am I really? Did I do anything? That level of self-honesty, bring that right here. And look and say, hey, do I want to continue living the way that I am, or am I willing to cut that off? Right, there's that decision. So success is a decision away because when you do actually take that step and you move forward in congruence and in accordance with where you want to be, that's when things start to open up. But then you'll get moments along the journey where you're going to know that next step you got to take. And again, back to self-honesty. You got to realize, hey, damn, I can't see the way forward. Like this is intense. Like I don't know what to do. I've had so many times where I feel like my world is falling apart. I feel like I'm going to die. Like I don't know what I'm supposed to do exactly. But because I have specific tools and I join every single self-perfected call and I have an awesome network of people that I've cultivated and built by reaching out over time, that has served me very well. Because now if I'm stuck and I don't know what to do, guess what? I can decide what to do and or I will call someone in my network that I trust and I'll say, hey, I'm in this situation. Any advice? And guess what? They'll pick up and they'll be happy to give me advice because then the tables turn down the road and then they're calling me, asking me for advice. And this is awesome. Like that's a real friendship, right? That's real synergy because I've made the decision of where I'm going with my life and what I'm here to do. And I back it up every single day with action. It's not enough to just have one passive decision. It's meaning success is a decision away, but it's an active living decision. It's a cutting off. It's not there. And it might try and grow back, right? You know what doubt is? You ever look up etymology of words and then use Technotutor so you can actually process the words. Because it's not enough to just memorize information. You need to get that information in you. Um, and I'll just say this. So look up doubt and where the word doubt actually comes from. This was so illuminating to me. It's doubt, the root of it is duo, like two. Now, why might I say that that's important? Just think, why would it be so profound to realize that doubt means two? That's where the root of it comes from. Especially in this context of success is a decision away. So doubt is when you're split in between two or more options of what you could do. Like really look at this the next time you face doubt is because you're not sure what to do and you think there's multiple ways forward and you don't know which one is actually best. So you could either continue living in doubt, or you can make a decision or stand by your decision you've already made to not participate in doubt. Easier said than done, because if you're just using your conscious mind and you're not using the tools of self-forgiveness and technotutor, good luck. It's you have so much programming from all the years of your life that's just running. It's like a computer just running. And then you're going to try and use your thoughts to try and change that programming. It doesn't work like that. That's why you'll see people repeat the same cycle over and over and over and over without changing yet. When you say success is a decision away, you can choose that with your conscious mind, but then you have to back that up with action. And that's a whole process. Because then you have to start looking at, okay, if I'm serious, success is a decision away and I'm deciding to be successful, well, then what does it even mean that I'm going to be successful? Who am I? You have to even ask that basic of a question. Who am I? Because are you aware that you have a conscious mind where you think you're in control? You think you're the master of the universe. You're like this awesome superhero, right? That's your conscious mind. Guess what? That's less than 1% of what's actually going on in you. Beneath that, you have your subconscious mind. This is powerful, right? This is why sometimes you'll be in a mood or you'll have a personality pop up or someone comes in your environment and you start talking to yourself and you're like, oh, the person, I could have said that, all that stuff. That's your subconscious mind. And that runs off energy and emotions. Then you have an unconscious mind. And this is what got programmed into you when you were a young child. And when your mom was holding you in her arms, she was rocking you to sleep, and then a commercial came on and something got imprinted into you. Like, buy this now. Or when your mom was rocking you in the arms and she was opening the mail and then she realized there's a bill, or your dad came home, or whoever, and there's all the stress and emotions and energy around different things in our environment that gets imprinted to you. That's your unconscious mind. So you could think all day long, I'm going to be successful, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be wealthy, I'm going to be all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. And you could really mean it. I'm not denying that you might really honestly want that. Like you really want to be successful in terms of money, or you really want to have a happy family or whatever. But just wanting something is not enough. Otherwise, the whole world would be a way different place. How come people can want stuff so bad, but they don't have anything? Oh, wait, look up the definition of want. Then you'll really understand. So let's make this practical. Unless you're willing to change yourself on an unconscious and subconscious level, you ain't going to change. You might change for a few days. You might change your mood. You might feel really motivated. But how many of you have done something where you feel super hype? And you're like, yeah, I could take over the world. I'm going to do this and that and the other thing. Then guess what? What happens? Did you keep it going for multiple years and then you're super happy with your life and everything? No. What happened? It wore off like a drug, like you smoked some crack and you were high and then it wore off. That's what energy is. That's what motivation is. Or it's like a fire, but it's not going to actually change who you are. Your structure of you is not changing. But with these specific tools, very specifically, okay, here, I'm going to look at what Drake says. Drake says, just believing something doesn't make it real either. Think how many kids genuinely believe in Santa. Yeah, bingo, belief. Look at the middle. What is the middle three letters? Lie. It's a lie. And yeah, you can have a powerful belief, and you might have a belief that you're going to change something, right? But how about you actually just change yourself so you can know what's going to happen and you know why it happens so it's replicatable. So it's not like you're playing this weird lottery game of like, oh, if I just pray hard enough or I just get lucky or something, it'll just work. Like, stop playing lottery games. You've been programmed with that from day one as well, from generations and generations of programming, of basically slave programming. Just be blunt, slave programming. And so if you want to change that programming, there's only one main way to do it. And there's kind of two nuances to it. One is you use TechnoTutor. It is a tool that allows you to change yourself on an unconscious and subconscious and conscious level. So you can get new information in, so you can actually do stuff different for the first time ever. It's accessing the first 7 years of your life. When all that stuff got imprinted, it's getting to that level. It's profound. You can look at the results. I mean, just look at my past 2 months in my Facebook. Look at all the other people. Look at Drake. Look at Isabel who's watching this. I mean, I have stories for days of people changing, people who didn't think they would change, people who doubted they would change, and they change. Because when you change the unconscious, reality is like a big computer program. And when you can program the computer differently, meaning getting into your unconscious mind, it will change things. Just thinking ain't going to cut it. So that's the main way to do this. The only way to do this is TechnoTutor. A lot of people tell me, no, there's multiple ways. There's multiple ways. Show me one person who did binaural beats, for example, people into binaural beats. Show me one person who did binaural beats and now your bank account is substantially different. It's not. Binaural beats is a way for people to try and get something for nothing. Binaural beats or meditation. I did the meditation and I saw my soul guide and stuff. You're just deluding yourself. It's like you're playing a video game in your mind, thinking that you're the champion of the world, but you're not doing anything in real physical reality. We live in a real physical world. If you don't believe me, okay, then just try not breathing. See what happens. You're going to realize we live in a physical world, even though you've been programmed to believe there's something beyond us. But that's what we're talking about, real physical change. And so with TechnoTutor, now if you have that, now you can use something called self-forgiveness. Self-forgiveness can really help. But if you're just speaking self-forgiveness and you're not getting into that unconscious mind and you're not changing those neural pathways within yourself and that structure of who you are, you can forgive yourself all day long, but you're going to just keep recreating the thing, right? Because it's not getting to that physical change. That would be like wanting to build a skyscraper and you're just drawing plans on a piece of paper and like praying that God is somehow going to come in and like put it together. It's just not how reality works. It works by you getting physical materials together, manipulating the physical matter, and then constructing that, talking to people, networking, right? Using your words, getting people together, working together. That's how you affect physical matter. And that's what TechnoTutor is a way to systematically do that for yourself inside yourself. So I really suggest, if you're serious about wanting to change, have a better life, have cool friends, enjoy yourself, actually feel grateful, actually feel happy to be alive, and then be part of something such as success, which in this case, success means actually stepping up and changing the system. Because if it's just success, if you're just trying to get TechnoTutor so that you can get laid or that you can um, like make some money so you can go live on the beach in Thailand, like I'm not going to help you do that because that's just pure selfishness. Like that's evil. Because guess what? You're going to go try and live like a king over in Thailand when someone's got to change your sheets at the resort, someone's got to provide that Wi-Fi, and you're going to basically live like a king, manipulating the money system so you can feel like a special little king. And then guess what? Everyone else, they're still enslaved to a job that they probably hate and they don't want to be there, even though they'll smile to your face because you might give them a tip. But that's the reality. There's hell on earth for basically everyone. But some of us, like myself, I was born in the United States. I had a fairly stable upbringing. Great. Now, am I just going to say, okay, cool, I'm good. See ya, everyone. I'm just going to live my life and then, like, maybe there's heaven or something and I'll be good? No. Success is a decision away, meaning I'm going to cut off anything else that's telling me, oh, I can just go, like, mess around and just have fun. Life's about having fun, right? No. Sure, have plenty of fun. I'm having a lot of fun. I have Drake, he's coming to town. Christine's coming to town. A lot of people coming to town to come visit, and we're going to have a ton of fun. But it's because we're united in purpose. We're not going to come here and we're not going to drink. There's going to be no alcohol. We're not going to play video games. We're not going to the club. None of that. We're going to make some awesome food. We're going to talk about important stuff. We're going to mastermind on business. We're going to do a lot of very important practical things. They're going to meet a lot of local people. We're going to show them what we're doing with our property, how we're building sustainable foods. Brian says, how does TechnoTutor enhance or supply me with the ability to learn almost anything I desire with efficiency? Well, that's a great question, Brian. How TechnoTutor is working is it's getting information into your unconscious mind, which normal learning can't do. Think of if you read a book. Have you ever read a book and you're reading through the lines and then you get to the end of the page and you're like, dang, what did I just read? And then you have to go back through and then read it again? It's because that information isn't actually in your mind. It's not actually in your brain. TechnoTutor is getting that information into you. So then you sit down and you go read a book on wealth or business creation, and it becomes obvious what to do. Think of it like this. There's something called receptor sites in your brain. And that's what TechnoTutor is working on. I mean, it's doing way more than that, but in terms of like how is it working, it's allowing those receptor sites to grow in your brain so you can actually receive information. Then it becomes pretty easy to make money. It becomes pretty easy to build a business. But I wasn't programmed for this. I was programmed to go through university, get a job, and hope and pray that somehow I would save up money and then retire when I'm 60. Like I'm not doing that. I'm building a business. I'm building a network. And then we're going to use that and the connections. And then we're going to get into politics. And then we're going to start influencing the system from there. And so when I say success is a decision away, that's what I'm talking about. Brian says, like skimming through it, but actively thinking about what you are going to devour for lunch next. Exactly, Brian. Because our conscious mind is this, it's like a crazy monkey. And it's like all over the place. But if we're serious about wanting a better life for ourselves, I mean, let's just say one of your goals was to make money. Let's look at people who are great at making money. Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, right? Billionaires. Even let's just say some multi-million, I don't know, Grant Cardone or something. Their mind ain't jumping around when they're reading books. They're processing the information. They're reading. They're not thinking about lunch. They're reading that information actively, then they're thinking about it, and then they'll have a moment of insight, and then they'll realize what they need to do. Then they'll go make a decision or two, and then they'll go close a deal and make like $50 million. That's what real reading is. Like, think about reading. I love when people ask me, they're like, whoa, reading, TechnoTutor's helping with reading. I can already read. I don't think I need that. It's like, imagine you're swimming in a pool, and then Michael Phelps, the Olympic swimmer, comes into the lane next to you. And you're like, oh, hey, Michael, I'm just over here swimming. He's like, haha, yeah, sure, if you want to call it that. And then, he proceeds to swim. That's what reading is between us and the elite who run the world. We're like, I can read. They're like, okay, you can read Harry Potter. Cool. They're like reading annual reports from businesses. They're reading magazines so they stay up on trends. They're reading all the best books. And then they're processing that information, and then they're making decisions so that they can keep taking over the world. Why is Bill Gates buying up all the farmland? He has a plan. So yeah. Brian says, apologies for not reaching out earlier. Had big unexplainable hurdles lately, but lately seen some success. That's good, Brian. I'm glad you're working through that. Here's something too that happens in life. I've supported and worked with a lot of people, hundreds of people. And something that happens is when we're aware specifically of TechnoTutor, I'm just going to be blunt. When we become aware of the fact that TechnoTutor exists, and it's a tool that allows us to shortcut the entire learning process. So you can take information, you can take your goals, your dreams, all that, and you can put it into your unconscious mind. So you can literally now make that happen. Like for real, you can go make it happen. When we become aware of that, our mind starts to freak out because we realize, oh my God, I can actually change. And we're deep down, we're terrified of change, especially based on our early programming. Like change is scary. Because when we were kids, think of times when our parents dropped us off for daycare and we literally thought they were gone forever. So we're actually traumatized from change. And no one ever explained that to us when we were kids. So now we're walking around with all this baggage of feeling traumatized about change. And so now that's still running the show. Remember, your unconscious mind is what's actually running the show, even though you feel like your conscious mind is. You might really, really feel like I'm consciously creating my reality. You're not. Because if you were, you could just say, I'm imagining my bank account going up. It doesn't work like that. It's unconscious processes day after day after day. And so when we become aware of the fact that TechnoTutor can change that rapidly, our mind will start to react to it. And a lot of people will freak out about TechnoTutor because they're like, oh, I don't know, no, it can't be that easy. But in reality, I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's simple. It's very simple. And so what will happen though is we will continue to sabotage ourselves and we'll get some success and then a bigger hurdle will come in. And life will keep getting worse and worse and worse until we actually get TechnoTutor so we have a tool to change ourselves. And I've seen it time and time and time again of people that get really bad shit happening. And I'm not wishing this on anyone, But I know firsthand multiple people who have had bad car accidents because they knew about TechnoTutor. They knew they're like, I think I got to be part of this. I, I understand that what TechnoTutor is doing is going to disrupt the education system and actually create a better world. I think I want to be part of that, but I'm going to keep delaying and I'm going to find excuses to not be part of it. And then something horrible happens, like a car accident or like some big life shakeup happens. And then finally they come around and they're like, okay. I had another guy the other day. He said he was having a series of really bad days, and then he in one of the worst moments he realized he's like, I got to talk to Mitch. I think TechnoTutor would actually help me because it's this emotional roller coaster we're going on, and that's also what TechnoTutor is working on. It's basically taking all the information in us that's all messed up, and it's allowing us to structure it so it's nice, neat, and you become very effective. It's like you ever have a computer with a ton of um, viruses and it's all fragmented and you have to run a defrag, you have to clean up your computer. That's what TechnoTutor is for your brain and your body. It's literally a cleanup. How often do I use the software? I use it every single day, Lucas, without any exception. In the past 2 years, I missed one day ever. And it was just because it was like my third day I had it. I just didn't plan ahead. And I was busy all day and I fell asleep and I was like, dang. But literally ever since, because I've seen what it's done for me. I've seen what it's done for my family. I've seen what it's done for my friends, for people I don't even know. Or I just met them and I see what it does. And that's why I talk about it. I would not be on here making a live stream about something that didn't work. That would be stupid. Like I'm not saying anyone here is thinking that I'm stupid. Maybe you are. If so, good. Okay. What I'm explaining is that like my reputation's on the line and I'm openly sharing this. I've built a whole system. You can join TechnoTutor, you can use it, you can sell it, you can make a lot of money. I can show you how to make 6 figures fairly rapidly with this thing. But I'm not gonna, just try and force this on everyone, right? You don't have to watch this video. I'm gonna read what Brian said here. Brian said, so instead of studying in college for 5 hours a night, we can learn effectively for 1 hour and actually remember and have constructive thinking about what we learned. Exactly. Brian, there's a really cool testimonial written by this lady that is a TechnoTutor client. And she says, and I can send it to you. She says, got a 95 on my syntax midterm and never went to class. Oh yeah, baby, TechnoTutor, hashtag TechnoTutor. It's like literally, it's take all the, and this is what's so, what can really piss people off is because when you realize how simple TechnoTutor is, you start to realize how many weeks, months, or years of life we've wasted. I mean, I went to university. I know I went 4 years, got my degree. I spent hours in the library. I put so much stress on my body just trying to learn, right? And I can't tell you how much coffee I drank, how much shit I did to finish that test and all, finish the paper. And I didn't remember anything. I came out of university not knowing what to do, not knowing anything about business. Sure, I learned a little bit about psychology and doing research in psychology, but they didn't teach me anything about how my mind is actually influencing reality. And it's like I wasted a lot of time. But guess what? I'm not gonna just dwell in, like, who cares? So what? I'm just gonna sit here and have a pity party? Say, oh, my life, I wasted all this time. Better just keep wasting more time. It's like there's some quote, I don't know if it's MLK or someone, but they're like, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time to plant a tree is right now. And it's fascinating because we're creating a garden. We're creating a whole sustainable ecosystem here um, for how to have gardens and constant food coming around every year so that we're prepared for if the economy crashes, we have enough food for ourselves and our neighbors, and we can teach other people how to do this. Because food in the future will be a luxury. I'm calling it. I'm betting on it. Literally, I'm betting my money on it. And so I'm seeing it every day though. I plant the tree or I plant the food, and I'm like, oh, like why can't I grow faster? I want to eat the food now. Then I remember, oh shit, I was programmed to be a slave. I was programmed by the elite to be impatient. Impatience is just a program, my friends. That's a deep one. Write that one down. Impatience is just a program. And you can program yourself to be patient and to perfect the process. Brian says, it really does put in context how much potential I've squandered considering speed and time is one of the major factors in achieving my goals. Yeah, man. And Brian, I remember we chatted a few months ago, and you definitely have big goals. Let's connect. Let's connect. Because again, this is the whole point. This is the whole point of this video. I'm calling it, I forgot to title it. And it's called Why Success is a Decision Away. And here's a perfect example where there's people where I know people will reach out from this video. And you'll see the common sense of what I'm saying is there's a way to imprint information into your mind, directly into your mind. So it's in there. And then you can do different things. It's like a computer that's programmed for something new, it can do new things. And there will be people who will say, hey, I want to do that. I want to hear more. But then they'll never actually follow through. And the only way it works is if you follow through and you actually use the thing. It's like going to the gym. You can decide that you want to go to the gym. You can even buy a gym membership. You can even go to the gym with all your running clothes on and everything. You can even hold the weight in your hands. But until you actually do the curls, nothing happens. Same thing with TechnoTutor. Yeah, nice, Brian. I'm so glad you're stabilizing stuff in your life. And yeah, food and water will be a luxury and education. And this is so significant because for us that can actually see that and where it makes sense that Bill Gates is trying to give cricket burgers to everybody and fake meat grown in a lab. I don't know about you, but I'm not putting that shit in my body. And I'm also acknowledge that current agriculture practices are also not best. The fact that they're cutting down the Amazon to plant soybeans and corn so that we can have McDonald's burgers, like that's also stupid. So I'm not advocating for that. I'm saying let's find common sense solutions. So for people who want to eat meat and we have some good grass-fed cattle and stuff like that, let's do it in a sustainable way. And you don't kill the cow until it's at the end of its life. So it's like you're actually honoring life. And for people who want to be vegan, if that's your preference, cool. Let's get you the best vegan food. Let's get the best vegetables for everyone, the best food and sustainable practices. But here's another way that TechnoTutor fits into this is because I know a lot of people who work their ass off on their farm and they're really learning and they're applying themselves and all that. But because they don't have TechnoTutor, they'll still do little emotional things and they'll sabotage themselves and they'll end up going to the farmer's market or going wherever and they'll just break even. They don't actually have a profitable business because they weren't programmed to be profitable. Again, that's what TechnoTutor. So for anyone who's ever like, oh, TechnoTutor, yeah, but like, I have to invest in it. It's like, yeah, that's the point. You have to put money in it because then you're going to take it seriously. And then guess what? You use it and then you make way more money. And then you realize that was the best investment I ever made. Lucas Christopher says, where did you learn all your information about farming? Good question. I mean, what I do is, so before I had TechnoTutor, I would just, okay, you might relate with this. For people who are obsessed with taking in information, and I have to pick up Mayor at the airport, so I just need to make sure. Okay, I got like a little more time here. Mayor's coming to town. I'm so excited. Mayor Billionaire, we call him, because he's also an awesome guy. Okay, about information. I used to be the person who would listen to videos, documentaries, watch videos, whatever. And I'm like, I'm writing notes like over and like I would fill up notebooks because I'm like, I want to remember this information. It's so good. But I did not trust myself to remember anything. And I had a decent memory. Like I never had like brain injuries or anything. I was just like a normal kid. And I just grew up like I want to take notes on stuff. Now, after I've used TechnoTutor and I've programmed into myself at an unconscious level, so it's literally physically in my body. I don't have to think about it. Guess what? I rarely take notes now. Or I'll take notes so that I can put stuff through TechnoTutor. And you'll see the books. I'll post videos about my library, all the books I read. I mean, I read 80 to 100 books a year. And some of them I'm skimming, some of them I'm literally reading and taking notes and stuff, but I rarely reread a book now because I'll take that information and I have a process and I'll teach it to any of you if you have TechnoTutor. And you can take the book and then put it into a format. Then you run it through TechnoTutor, program it into yourself. Then you just finish out reading the book, take any more notes, and then it's part of you. Then guess what? Then you go do the thing. It's like people who read Rich Dad Poor Dad or Think and Grow Rich, and they're like, oh, I hope I get rich. It's like when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad now, I'm reading the book, I'll read a couple paragraphs, and then I'm like, oh shit, I got to call my accountant about this. Close the book, put it on my bookshelf, and then I call my accountant and I actually restructure the business, and then I save my money on taxes or whatever. Like that's real reading. So in terms of now farming, Lucas, to answer your question, I mean, I started with David Avocado Wolf. I think he's cool. He's definitely out there, and his theories on energy in the universe is kind of crazy. It is absolutely crazy, but I can't knock him. Like he really knows a lot about superfoods and all that. But again, if I didn't have TechnoTutor, I would not even be able to comprehend it. And then I would just be like believing him. Like, oh, I think superfoods are good because he said so. It's like, no. Now I actually understand why it's good. And I understand why I should, for example, chew my food more because it breaks it down because you have enzymes in your saliva. Like there's all this stuff. It just became so obvious once I started using TechnoTuner. Because like it's designed too with basics. So like in level one, I'm literally learning about like DNA and your digestive system and all this stuff in chemistry. And I'm like, this is so cool. I'm like actually becoming a master of the freaking physical universe just through going through the basics. Now I see these kids using TechnoTutor, like some 4 and 5 year olds, and they're like full on reading, like reading, like not, oh, cute, he wants a picture book from the library. Like the kid's reading books about Bobby Fischer on how to play chess. Like that's reading. Like the next time I see Max, one of the kids in particular, I'm concerned he will beat me in chess because I don't practice, and I know he does. So I learn about farming. I mean, I just go on YouTube. I'll put stuff on my watch later. Ice Age Farmer is kind of cool. I don't know. I haven't really researched him that much. And then what I really do for farming information is I go and I hang out with my neighbors now. And I go talk to them because they realize the importance of education. They have networks. So I'm talking to them about TechnoTutor, how we're disrupting education. And then they're telling me about farming and how to build compost and stuff. So it's awesome. But yeah, I do it in person. And some people one off send me messages and stuff. I'm down to always talk about that stuff because it's great. But unless we change the human, you can have the best farming practices ever. We could even create sustainable farms in every city around the world. But if people are still so emotionally unstable and so abused, they're gonna find a way to destroy it. Like we're gonna sabotage it. Like really look at that point. For everyone who thinks, oh, if we just fix the environment, or we just do this certain practice in farming or sustainable agriculture, that will somehow save the world. No, it's not gonna, because we aren't changing the human. We're still abused. We're still walking around with trauma from childhood. So you could even give people money. You can give people $5,000 a month. But if they're still so emotionally unstable, they're gonna go get addicted to drugs. They're gonna get jealous of how their girlfriend looked at some other guy. They're still gonna do stupid things. It's because we're uneducated. Education is the most important foundation for this. And Brian, so for the last part here, Brian says plastic and trash is a big issue too. There's wealth in that, but most entrepreneurs in that space don't really care to solve the recycling issue. So interesting enough, Brian. So I agree, huge issue. We should not pollute the world. We shouldn't pollute the oceans, but we are. And um, part of what we do with TechnoTutor, so for people who are involved and we know that they're taking the process seriously and changing themselves and stabilizing, we have access to a whole plethora of business deals, investments, and things that are specifically geared toward creating a positive impact in the world, like real impact, like cleaning up the oceans and stuff. And so we have that that's available for people in the network. Because if someone has TechnoTutor, we know they're serious about their re-education. They're very serious about changing themselves, taking more responsibility. And for those kind of people, we want to reward you in terms of business deals and stuff like that. And so, yeah, there's a lot of very cool projects that we're looking at. Other stuff, I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot. I'm not even going to get into this because I have NDA signed and stuff, and I don't want to overstep any boundaries. But in terms of creating wealth and creating an awesome life for ourselves and for everyone, success is a decision away. And so for those who resonate with this video and want to chat further, like let's reach out. Let's get on a phone call. I'm happy to support. It's literally what my purpose is to find like-minded people. And I'm very open. I'm not going to hide stuff. I'm just going to encourage you, connect, let's connect one-on-one. Yeah, and stay tuned. This week we're going to have a lot of cool updates, a lot of people coming to town for specific training, and it's going to be awesome. So until then, keep it real, and I look forward to connecting with y'all. All right, bye.